Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, Alberta Wheat Commission, and C&M Seeds.
We're here at Farm Smart, and we're joined by Ellen Sparry from C&M Seeds. Ellen, thanks for taking the time.
Oh, it was great to talk to you, Bernie.
Awesome. Hey, you just finished your presentation, and part of what you were talking about was, what millers want from wheat, from a variety perspective, from a component. So let's start there. When you think about millers, what do they want?
Well, I think, as I said, one of the key things they want, first of all, is consistency, right? Consistency of deliveries, consistency of varieties, and that's what we try and deliver through certainly our R&D process, through quality assessments before we bring varieties to farmers' fields. So that's the kind of generic answer, and then obviously depending on end uses, there's certainly a lot of different things that millers want. So.
Now, millers used in Ontario, we grow a lot of soft red wheat, and how do they? About 80% of what we grow. How do they put that to use?
So first of all, soft wheat. The soft wheat category, typically we consider that as a pastry type. So they're making cakes, cookies, crackers. So that's their primarily use for it. Now within that soft wheat category, there's a few different quality parameters that would split it into potentially having more opportunity for say a stronger product such as crackers versus a weaker product such as cakes and pastries. So, and there are varietal differences that can go to each of those uses.
Let's talk about. You talked about it in your presentation. Protein versus yield.
Right.
Millers want protein, but sometimes it comes at the expense of.
That's right. The challenge for breeders. It's a pretty long-standing relationship where the graphs kind of go like, as protein goes up, yield tends to go down. I don't know if I have my hands working in the right direction, but you get the idea. So, for soft wheat, I guess that sort of helps. If your protein level gets too high on soft wheat, it becomes less usable for the end users. It gets too strong for them. So that's, I guess, why you might see soft wheats in that higher yield category, and then in our hard wheats that don't yield as much because that nitrogen for yield goes into protein as well for those. So it is a bit of a challenge though to try and break that barrier on some classes.
Now Mondelez is a big miller, big buyer.
Right.
We're talking about rich crackers and all those type of things.
Yep.
You obviously sort of had some relationships with those. What do people like Mondelez tell you that, hey, what they'd like to see from Ontario, what they'd like to see from C&M?
Yeah, what they'd like to see from us and from the class of Ontario of our soft reds. So again, they are one of the end users that likes that stronger class of wheat. So they want gluten, what we call gluten, which was part of that protein certainly. They want a little stronger gluten strength. So I said if you compare the different cracker types, so I'm frankly a wheat thins kind of gal. I like the flat, crunchy crackers versus the saltines and the Ritz crackers. So if you compare how they look structurally, there's a few more bubbles in, say, a Ritz cracker than the others. So they require that slightly stronger gluten. And that is, we have struggled a bit over the years through our registration process of, the classes of wheat and the quality of that class that's in the province. So right now we're trying to move the class slightly stronger so that we can meet the needs of Mondelez or anyone using that type. So, we talk to them all the time, try and get them to look at some samples to see how we're doing. And right now there are certainly some programs out there, not just through C&M, but through some others, to contract those specific varieties that meet their use.
Let's talk about what's happening at C&M, for example. Now, big development program down there. You've got 4,000 plots, about 800 varieties you look at each year.
Yep.
What's in the plots now? What are you focusing on?
So we're focusing on, so that's across winter and spring types, first of all, and certainly we are focusing on basically all classes. So as we pointed out in the presentation earlier, there's 6 classes across the province. So there's probably the 3 primary ones are soft red winter, of course, as you said, 80%. Our hard red winter acres are around 10 or so this year. Hardwood Springs as well, which we didn't really break that down, but in the eastern part, certainly the province are pretty important. And then the soft white class as well is also very important for a different end use again. And we mentioned hard white winter in Durham. Probably those are pretty niche markets. I mean, they do exist, but so what we concentrate though on in the plots. So certainly we look at all those classes. We kind of think of ourselves as bringing those niche opportunities to the market, more so than maybe some larger companies. We are though focused on the commodity as well. So probably a lot of we have a lot of soft wheat plots, and then proportionately to the hards.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this, and let's wrap this up with going back with maybe what's coming through the plots, through the development, and what might meet Miller's needs down the road. So if you look 5-10 years down the road and what's in your plots, what might emerge? What might be the opportunities for growers?
Right. So for growers, I mean, depends on which they want to play in. So the commodity market, I can't see that changing a whole lot, right? I mean, it takes certain things to make bread and certain things to make crackers. Could we be getting into purple wheat or something along that lines, or a different color for a different type of bread? That would probably remain, though, I think, somewhat of a niche market. We have dabbled in making pasta through our Durhams in the province. Not sure that will be a big thing. But, certainly as processes change, though, within the milling industry, so less salt in products, that does require different strength as well, is my understanding. So certainly some nutritional changes in end products might bring different things to a grower's field that they can work with from an end-use perspective.
And then, think about that. I mean, we're so consumed with our food these days,
right?
And so many people are looking down, and whether it's salt, sugar, fat, and all those types of things. Does that play into your development process as well? I mean, what's happening at the end user, at the consumer?
Yeah. So I think as a company, C&M has always tried to stay pretty close to those end use markets and the milling markets as to what they want. So certainly we try and gauge years out what they'll be using. So we are directing our screening and quality testing to that. So
well, hey, thank you for your time today. Always great catching up with you,
it's great.
And we'll see you around.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Bernie.